How do we take a team of people that haven't experienced great success, or maybe have had a little success, who have never really discovered the limits of their abilities and who don't have the same level of self-belief as the average entrepreneur or business leader? And how do we move them emotionally and intellectually to a place where they become a truly high-performance team? What is that process? And then for teams who have had some success, is there a similar process to recreate their success over multiple years? By definition, if you're a business leader or an entrepreneur, then you have above average self-belief. Like it or not, that's just the way the world looks at you. That was the question that I had. How do I tap into a team's existing self-belief and get them to believe that they can achieve a bigger goal, a bigger vision, so much so that they take it as their own. They assume personal accountability for it. They believe as deeply as any business leader or entrepreneur believes that they can achieve it. Ultimately, how do we put culture first and connect it in a way that drives execution? Because it's one thing to have a dream and a massive vision for your business, but if you can't get others to step into that vision and to take part in it, to assume some level of personal ownership for it, well, it's not going to make a bit of difference how grand your vision is or how big the market potential is. A lot of us think that we can just read our vision to our team, create and assign goal packages for them, and then because they work for us, they'll go out and achieve the goals. It's their job. Our mistake is that we think that people believe they can achieve the goals that we've set for them just because we stood in front of them, showed them the vision, and said it's possible. We think that they should buy in as fast as we do and by some function of assignment. The challenge is that we forget that their self-belief plays a role in the success of our business. And it's not automatic. So how do you crack the code on self-belief, on goal setting and achieving buy-in, and do it in a way that builds tangible momentum in the business? What I want to share with you is my approach, what I've learned, my experience when it comes to building a truly high-performance culture. How can you lead your team in a way that builds them up, in a way that causes them to see themselves as a truly high-performance team that executes simply because that's who they are, in a way that enrolls them and invites them to assume personal responsibility for achieving the business vision? Too often, leadership resorts to a command and control, carrot and stick approach, all in the name of hitting the numbers and growing the business as fast as possible. And we miss the clues until it is far too late that our relentless focus on the numbers cuts away at the very culture that we're trying to build inside the business. We seem to forget that people don't become part of the team to make the P&L look good. The reality is that focusing on the numbers doesn't deliver the numbers. Execution delivers the numbers, and culture is what makes execution possible. So the art of building a business is to build up your team in a way that simultaneously drives business growth, preserves everyone's integrity, and then unleashes the full creativity of our teams to execute the business strategy. This is the power of a goal-setting strategy that drives an engaging dialogue between leadership and every employee and brings everyone together to a shared
common understanding for where the business is today, where it's going to be next month, next quarter, next year, and even 3 years from now.
When you give a goal to a person, the first thing that they do is compare that goal to the goal that they've set for themselves. And if there's a big mismatch, then they compare that goal to their self-belief. Now, every person's self-belief is built on 4 pillars. The first of which is their personal experience in that environment. And the second one is the experience of their friends or their peers in a similar environment. Third is any positive encouragement that they might receive from leadership, friends, that sort of thing. And then lastly is the gut reaction that they have when they receive that goal package. So how the heck does a CEO build a truly high-performance team when not one pillar of an employee's self-belief is labeled because the CEO said it could be done? Well, we better understand how to build self-belief in others. People don't chase numbers. They enroll in challenges. They crave learning and experience. We can't assume that every person can see a clear path to the vision that we've outlined for the business. We can't assume that they'll come along at the same speed or that we'll get buy-in by assignment. We have to work with them and chunk it down into pieces that they believe they can execute. We have to find that challenge for each person that excites them and motivates them to learn new skills and find new ways of doing things. We have to back them up and provide the resources that they need so that they can execute on their piece of the business strategy.
This is part of the curse of being an entrepreneur or being a business leader. We have to remember that not everyone has the massive self-belief that we do, and we have to help build it in others. There are so many teams, so many companies that could achieve so much more. They could grow so much faster if we could just figure out how to get our teams to believe that they can execute at a higher level on a consistent basis. Part of this, the foundation of it, is understanding where every single person is, what they believe they can achieve, and then once they execute, help them see how and exactly where they can elevate their standard so that the business builds real momentum. At the core of every person who ever achieved a goal is the belief that they could make it happen.